Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. I'm Matt, that's Ben, that's Alonso. We are talking about the season finale of The Deuce.
My name is Ruby, and that killed me. That I did not see that coming, and Ruby, that was just like a
because
moment.
Ruby, like of all the women in these terrible professions and enduring what they have to endure, she was sort of the best adjusted. Like she didn't seem plagued by it as much. Like this is what I do, and I offer a specialty, and eventually, and I imagine she was, she wasn't using drugs. I imagine she was frugal with her money. She may have. I don't know.
She had an okay apartment.
Right, she had an okay apartment, and it seemed like, given the circumstances, as okay a life as you could have in that life. So it was particularly.
And she just was always somebody with who had a good sense of humor, was very supportive of other women.
She like wasn't. She wasn't plagued by whatever demons plague so many people in this world.
Right. Yeah. So that was a heartbreak. In a lot of ways, I kind of felt like this. As we get to the end of this first season, that in a way, this season one is sort of like American Gods in terms of, like it's one very long pilot. Like the entire, like those first 6 episodes, first 8 episodes is really just sort of setting you up for what the real story is going to be. So I think if people were tuning in to the show being about, the birth of porn, like it took this far to get to, we're just now at the birth of porn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, and of course I end up, I know how much I like the show now just because I just found out that was the season finale. But my TiVo cut off like apparently 45 seconds too early.
Mine did too. I had to go to HBO Go to watch the last.
So I missed the montage that you've told me existed. So and I thought there were 10. It doesn't matter. But I care about just about every one of these characters. I want to know what the conversation is between the detective and the writer that had her leave the car. So what do we think? Did he told her because now he can make detectives, so he needs to end this or at least not supply her any more info.
I think he didn't want to go any further as far as like having to become a source or having to supply her with anything else, because then that would betray this captain who is gonna like take care of her.
Even though he now knows that clearly that the captain knew about him, or at least knew that he was talking to this reporter.
Right, but I think the captain makes it very clear, like I clean my own house, like this is something we take care of internally, not externally, and so he does eventually like circle the wagons. If anybody's gonna fix this, is gonna be NYPD. It's not gonna be some reporter,
right?
Even if it's a woman I love.
And then we now need to know whether over the course of whatever 44 weeks of waiting, whether Ruby's death shakes him of that at all. Like, it shook him enough that he punched Cece.
Yeah, I mean, but I think by the same token, the story came out. The story, the sort of Baudelarized version of the story that was the all inside, human interest story.
Right, but that's just a human interest story. That story didn't rain terror down on the. It's not going to be a problem for the.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that, and that's exactly it, because that version of the story didn't run. He can still sort of, but we'll see. Meanwhile, Candy clearly has finally sort of stepped up in a way that we knew she was going to. First in that meeting with the mob guy, where she's actually sort of analyzing what it is that people like about these movies and why, and what they're getting out of it. And then when David Krumholtz gets stuck on the LIE or whatever, and she has to sort of step up and direct the thing. I love the Hitchcock Truffaut quotation.
That was really great.
That was
what you call him, truffle?
Yeah, Hitchcock truffle.
Truffle, yeah. That was of course great. That was great. And also, what's great about Krumholtz and Gyllenhaal is that it's it might be an actual friendship.
Yes.
On a show, where we also have between Paul and Abby, right? Like actual friends. But this one we're getting much more in depth of what that friendship is.
Yeah, there was the scene that I thought that was really interesting with them was when the housewife comes in.
Oh right,
yeah, that was
Virginia.
Says, I want to be in the movies. And she's like, you do the work? She's like, no, we have a bookstore.
Yeah.
That was just a weird.
And before the bookstore, they had what? Like some other sort of just some super innocuous like plumbing supplies. It's just this thing now that it exists.
She's like, I'm pretty sure I can do what you do. And then while they were talking, where they were having the one of the conversations when the Krumholtz was watching, when he's having his his Truffaut Hitchcock moment of sort of explaining motivation. And the housewife, she's just continuing to. She's like, oh, this is great. Whatever, however you guys want to work it out, I'm game. Yeah.
And you get the sense of Candy thinking like, oh, you think anybody can do this?
Right.
Like this is just like, are you going to devalue my profession? Do you think you just waltz in off the street? But at the same time, she's an accommodating director, and I like just that you don't even hear what it is she's saying, but like when she's talking to Darlene on the set and making her feel comfortable after sort of talking her out of the wig, and like during the actual shoot to sort of make her feel, that she's obviously
all the things that good directors do, she's doing. Yeah. So I care, and we have a Vince Abby still.
Yes,
Abby. No,
Abby.
We have the Vince Abby split. I guess I didn't really focus on how she doesn't know the running women part of his life, which he's clearly feeling shame about. Like she doesn't know he's even invested in that. She's just now figuring out that he's in bed with the mob. Hence her question of like when you had that guy beat up, like did she ask like did you do that yourself? Was that like she's wondering whether.
He's obviously made it an ongoing effort to be like, I'm not part of that. I'm not part of the parlors. The bar's not connected to the parlors. I'm not connected to the parlors. And so I'm sure she thinks, if anything, that's something that like Frankie is doing,
right?
But not him. And so
White Frankie.
White Frankie. Sorry, clear on that.
Yeah.
So but obviously that all is going to expand, and in as much as he tries to think of himself as being outside of that, he definitely like even tells Rudy Pippolo to fuck off. Like with all due respect.
With all due
and
respect.
I love that Rudy's like.
He'll be back. Let's see the upstairs. Yeah.
Rudy doesn't really, like Rudy's so pragmatically a businessman, like he doesn't get insulted, right? I mean, it's the thing earlier, he's like, look, even with them skimming, we're making a ton of money, fine.
Yeah, no, Rudy is not a Joe Pesci mobster.
Right.
No.
He is not an emotional, like this is not, I don't have fights until, I'm sure he's capable.
There's a breaking point.
There's a breaking point.
No question.
But it takes a lot. So, anyway, I mean, my last thing I'll say, so I know we gotta go, but one thing my wife noted that is certainly worth noting. I mean, they have captured grime and dirt and disgusting so effectively. I mean, it just looks horrible. Yeah, in a great, compelling way.
But I think we very significantly end with the red carpet premiere of Deep Throat,
right?
Which again is that little tiny moment of like sort of porn legitimacy in mainstream theaters and in the mainstream culture, and I think that's where season 2 is going to take us. I'm very excited about that.
I as well.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next season with more of the Deuce.